Welcome back to YouTube. We are here with some Rev Says Desu. We're going to give him a like. If you like his video at the end of this, go ahead and hit subscribe. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe for me too if you think I'm cute. Oh, wink. I tried to wink. My eyes are messing up today. I don't know what happened. VTube Studio and OBS are being weird. My green eye keeps twitching at the bottom. OBS reset all my stuff, so then I had to redo everything. Sound, sources. Oh my god, it was a pain in the butt. But we did 100% a game with beautiful women in it. If you want to go check that video out when I post it. But now we are doing some reacting. We are relaxing because I didn't have enough time to do something else before I ended stream. So, Rev Says Desu, Avowed walks back forced pronouns, but jankiness, quotations, is the game-breaking problem plaguing reviews. Ooh, I've heard nothing but bad things about. That's not true. I heard some good things. I heard the combat was solid, even if it's not scaled appropriately, and the 3 tiers in each region for the armor you get does not match the enemies that you're fighting. So you're always like behind, and it's annoying. Like if you're 1 tier behind, they do like 30% extra damage to you, and you do 30% less damage to them. So it's basically just incredibly grindy for no reason. But let's see what Rev has to say.
Talking about Avowed. This is a AAA game that has been highly anticipated and will fully release in just a few days. However, a lot of people have early access right now, and we're starting to get some insights as to the concerning features some people have seen in previous snapshots of this game. We're also going to learn about major issues affecting those with early access and possibly those after full access. Now, what we're going to start with is some of these smaller issues, the previews of the game that a lot of people labeled as woke, and we're going to see how Obsidian has seemingly walked back some of those features. But then we're going to look at some of the reviews through early access that show some very significant issues with the gameplay and some bugs and other jankiness.
I was originally invested in this game. It's made by Obsidian, and they don't usually miss with me. Actually, Skill Up, I watched his hands-on review, and he had nothing but, well, he had mostly glowing things to say about it. He had some issues, but nothing he said that really ruined the game for him. Unfortunately, that was early reviews, and now the other reviews have started to come out. It's not looking good. It's not looking good at all, and that's really breaking my heart because I was really hoping to play Avowed. And now I'm only excited for like a handful of games this year. Maybe Fable, that could also go either way. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was one of them, and I haven't finished the first one because of all the lagging and loading issues that I'm having. That leaves Witcher 4 and a new Pokemon game, I believe, is coming out this year. Yeah, Legends A through Z, I believe it is. And I think there's like a couple of other games, but Carmen Sandiego is coming out in March. I'm excited to try that game. But this was one of the ones that actually really hurt because I love Obsidian, and I can't believe they would make something like this. Well, I can. I mean, they changed out a lot of their staff since they've actually made a decent game.
As the creative
speaking of Obsidian, Outer Worlds 2. Hopefully that's where all the good members of their staff went, because I really want to play that. I love the first one, and I'm going to replay the first one on PC. I played it a couple times on PlayStation and Xbox, but I'm excited to restart it on PC. Give me some Chivos. I already have it. I have it installed, so it's just a matter of time when we play it.
Describes that are completely game-breaking and ruining the experience overall for these
I heard a lot of that.
Reviewers, and possibly for those who will have full access in just a few days if these issues are not fixed. Now, before we get into those details I just described, let's share some good news with you guys. So it's Valentine's Day, so whether you're spending it however you want, there's some good news here. As you can see, there is a BOGO sale going on over at Advanced GG. Buy one, get one, 50% off on select.
You know what would have been really good?
Flavor jars, and this ends on the 16th at the end of the day.
Let me reduce my size so you can see your Rev's cutie pie. He's a good boy. It would have been great if he and Darling Straw had like a couple things.
I'll put a link to this in the pinned comment. Click the creator exclusives, and the first one on there, lo and behold, is Straub & Rev's Love Potion. This is a collab with my wife, Darling Straub.
Oh, they did? Okay.
New hydration flavor, Straub & Rev's Love Potion.
Does that count as Yuri?
Watermelon hydration flavor. Very, very good stuff. And once you select that and put
it in a guy in a girl's body, is it still Yuri?
Down until you see the next option that is available for you right here, and you select your next jar, and boom, just like that, you get 50% off your second choice there, which is a very good deal on these jars. And also, while we're here, I talked about this the other day. So 2 days ago, I had a big drop for the Valentine's drop here. You can see there's a bunch of different items. We have the jar. We also have this candle that burns down to the point where you have a collector's pin inside, which I think is very neat. They're
Oh, that's a
handcrafted
cool
candles, by
idea.
the way, very limited quantity of them.
We're stealing
We
that,
also have
chat.
the
Write that
wall
down. Write that
arts
down.
And the keychain, as well as some bundle options that feature these plastic shakers as well.
Only when you
Kind of
melt
deepens
our
the depth
candle
already, so I don't
down.
want to go too deep into it today, but I'll put a link
There's
to
a
this
firecracker.
collection as well in the pinned comment, and use code REV at checkout to save 10%
'Cause that's love.
of those
When
items.
you get right down
so
to
let's
it,
return to the news for
explodes.
today involving Avowed. So you can see Avowed backtracks on pronoun display as Obsidian art director Matt Hansen maintains social media silence after outburst at Elon Musk. That is such a current.
Ooh, he got political. Don't do that. Now, I already knew about this. I've heard reports about this. This guy needs to get booted, and I don't really care. Also, the head writer, I've heard not great things about their Twitter or their Blue Sky. If it surprises you that they have Blue Sky.
Day title right there. But look at this. So, as now confirmed, Avowed has added the option to disable pronouns in the game, and a lot of people are celebrating this. Some people are still not sold on this, and they think this is not enough. They need to be removed entirely. But as you can see, it is confirmed now.
No,
There is
leave
no
the
debate.
pronouns in the game for the people who
game are
want
now
the
an
pronouns.
option. It seems like the default is to have them turned off. But if you turn them on, you can go with the she, her, they, them, whatever you want. Basically, there's many camps on this. Some people didn't care. They always wanted pronouns, right? Then there's some
I don't
people
see how
who
it
think
matters.
this is like a compromise. They didn't want any, but this is better than having it forced on you. And then there's some people who are just not satisfied at all. They just want this stuff out of the game entirely, and this is just not enough for them. But, feel free to share what camp you fall in the comments, but people are pretty mixed on that. But this whole thing is significant because the art director for Obsidian, Matt Hansen,
There we go.
went off a few months ago and caused some great controversy on Where Else But Blue Sky, where Elon Musk pointed out the fact that at the time it seemed like there were forced pronouns in Avowed. And Elon Musk didn't like that, called it unacceptable, and then Matt Hansen had a meltdown.
I don't see what the problem
saying that
with
he's glad
is
he's making
in
Elon
having
Musk
pronouns
so mad
in a
about this,
fantasy
and that
video
was his
game.
main intention with his game.
I mean, if
And
it's
yeah,
part
that
of your
looks really
fantasy,
bad.
then
And looking back at all this stuff
good.
now, I think you're foolish to not believe that this is an intentional walk back by Obsidian. Okay, ever since this happened, Matt Hansen has been radio silent on social media, not a single post anywhere. And this was someone who regularly posted on social media, including on Blue Sky. They are now radio silent. And of course, they've done nothing.
Yeah,
to
they
affect
never
his
stay
employment.
silent unless they're
They did
forced
nothing
to.
to address these comments. But seemingly with these now,
I'm guessing that
features in the game
Obsidian was
with
like,
pronouns,
dude,
that seems to be a walk back.
no.
Because if they weren't a required thing, wouldn't you think Matt Hansen would clap back at Elon Musk by saying, you're mad about an optional feature in this game that you don't even have to do? Well, that's not what he said, and there was no indication at the time of the screenshot that these things were not forced. So I think they did walk this back, and they probably saw what's going on with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, where the quote-unquote woke aspects, or the things people are calling woke, are optional. So they can say that here. This is an optional thing. So basically it's player choice and yada, yada, yada. It's basically the safe way of trying to please both sides, but sometimes that just kind of irks everyone. But that's the update regarding this specific aspect of the game. Another thing that a lot of people are talking about are the character designs, and there seems to be a lot of misinformation, a lot of misunderstanding across the board on this stuff. So I see screenshots like this all the time where people say, this is an ugly character from the game. Well, this is from the character creation process, right? This is someone intentionally making the character as ugly as possible.
that's common though. Like a lot of people like to make ugly characters, and you know what? It's freaking funny. It's funny as crap. I don't see what the problem is. It's their fantasy. If they want to be like an ugly, stupid character for content, then God bless. Or
And
whatever you believe in,
and
bless. I don't want to
basically
judge.
promoting it as a
Or
feature. Like,
soon.
look how ugly you can make these characters, which, sure, some people really enjoy making a monstrosity of a character, but I don't know how much of a selling point that really is for a lot of games, but to each their own. However, a lot of people come to the defense, like I said, by saying, hey, those who are criticizing this, that's just the character creation process. Overall, the characters are actually pretty stunning if you give them a chance. Well, people are
doesn't
now
look
looking at the
stunning.
game and finding the actual
Also
NPCs
doesn't look
in
stunning.
the game, and they look like straight up Concord characters, okay? Like, people are not too impressed
No, it
with designs like this. I don't think that's too surprising. Here's another example of that. Here are some avowed NPCs to delight your eyes. I mean, like, what happened with Lord Farquaad here? Did he, like, get over Fiona and now he's hitting the gym
solid
to
reference.
compensate? Like, this just isn't good. And no one can
Don't
look me in the
assume
eyes
it's
and
a
say,
he.
yeah,
You
this
gotta
is a
ask their
great design.
pronouns.
People love this. A lot of people are pretty mixed on the designs, but again, I don't know how much of a game breaker
looks
this is for
awful.
everyone, but there's something that is pretty significant that's come out of this early access set of reviews, and it has to do with something involving the game that was, well, largely ignored if you were a fan of this game. That's the jankiness. We had the creative director come out and call the game janky, and a lot of people came to the defense of that, but it turns out that jankiness is a lot further than just some quirky bugs, and it's actually game-breaking issues. But if you look at the reviews so far of Avowed from the early access, 77% right now. It's not great, it's not horrible, but definitely there's some divide on this. And also the in-game player number really doesn't matter that much when it's early access. It's not a great indicator of anything. These are just the people who either have
they're farming content,
or they spent $90 to basically.
Yeah, it's mostly reviewers and people who want content. They want to be the first one so that they can pop off on YouTube or Twitch or something.
Be a beta tester, and we'll talk about that more in a second. But some of the anecdotal evidence in terms of the reviews are pretty funny ones. You have Jason Schreier.
Of course, Jason Schreier did.
I love Avowed, the latest RPG from Obsidian. I expected strong writing and combat, but what surprised me and kept me wanting more after 40 hours is the exploration and Now, a lot of people see
I heard the
Jason
exploration was
Schreier
good.
says, and they go, the game must be the opposite of what he's saying. It's like a negative endorsement. When Jason Schreier praises your game, a lot of people take that as a negative thing. This is the same guy who very loudly praised Dragon Age the Velguard to his own demise, even mocking the chuds, literally saying the chuds on Twitter. Day one of
Never forget.
That game had like broken Steam records. That was deleted because it was an absolute miscalculation on his part. So that's just my observation there.
I'd say flat out lie.
Paris, who's a very well-known shill in the industry.
Yes, Frizz, I am still going strong. I'm about to end after this video, though, because I got to figure out what's wrong with my model.
A 9.5 out of 10, and as people pointed out in the comments, he says all this while showing no actual gameplay of his own, which, yeah, again, seems like we're doing some astroturfing of this game, which a lot of people say has very promising aspects in the reviews, but there's a really bigger issue at hand here, and it's pointed out by Luke Stevens here. Now,
Luke, that's a boy!
This game is a broken mess. Again, as I emphasized only a few days ago, recently in an interview, the creative director for this game called it janky, right? And a lot of people ran defense for her, saying, oh, she's just talking about little quirky bugs that don't really impact anything. It's not a big deal. But as Luke Stevens and others...
Yeah, I watched that review. It kept corrupting his save file repeatedly. Like, he even did a live demonstration. He was so confident it was going to happen that he booted up the game, and then you just watched him log into it, and then load, and then crash, because his save file was corrupted.
Have pointed out, these janky little bugs are actually game-breaking in many regards and are causing a significant interference with the gameplay to the point of making it quite laborsome, okay? And the funny thing about this and how divided people are, like, Luke Stevens is not some, like, anti-woke guy, right? And people are mad at him over this for being honest about his own experience playing this game, and they're calling him all sorts of things. It just shows how polarized people are. But let's listen to some of his review. I'll put a link to this in the description if you want to check out the full review, but I just want to get some of the bare bones of it without spoiling anything for those who might be interested in Avowed. But let's listen to the key aspects of this review in regards to the bugginess and the brokenness of Avowed.
This is one of the most frustrating reviews I've made in a long time. Not because I dislike Avowed, I actually really like the game and I think it's pretty good, but rather because it's one of the most broken games I've ever had the displeasure of trying to finish for a review in a long time, maybe ever. To put it in perspective, Avowed, by my estimation, should take you between 30 and maybe 40 hours of gameplay to finish, doing a lot of the side content stuff. I spent significantly longer than that trying to finish this game, by my account, between 12 and 15 hours extra replaying areas that I already finished.
Yeah. Can't give you the exact percentage there off the top of my head, but a pretty high percentage.
That's way too many hours repeating the same thing. That's why I won't go to an older save of Kingdom Come Deliverance.
We've heard about that phrase MVP, minimal viability products, right? We talked about this in the last video with a jankiness comment, where basically a lot of these big studios, they just want a product that's just good enough to go out there, and they don't care if it's riddled with bugs, because they know you're just going to buy it anyways, and then they'll fix it later.
I will not be
That's
buying it.
an insult to the customer, and you can see how damning this one is.
Best case scenario for Avowed is I wait for Fable to come out on Game Pass. I get a month of Game Pass and then play that, Indiana Jones, Avowed, and like South of Midnight is also coming out on Game Pass. And I think there's like one other game. And I'm just going to burn through those suckers in a month, if possible.
Really hindering your ability to play this game
We'll see what happens.
at all.
We'll see what happens.
Like, how specifically bad this gets with Avowed.
Or just losing progress because of corrupted saves, or busted quest lines and quest objectives, that didn't trigger properly and would soft lock you, or any other number of various issues. I also ran into an issue in later game areas where I could not enter a certain zone without the game just crashing and just breaking. I have not had this much trouble finishing a game due to technical issues in a very, very long time. And
I'm sure it's fine. I mean, the game comes out in 4 days. I'm sure they'll figure it out. Nothing to worry about here, modern audience.
to sweeten the deal even better, as if I wasn't ticked off enough already, I'm not allowed to show you footage of a lot of these broken areas or broken quest lines or objectives because they happen in an area of the map later in the game that is specifically barred from us showing you in the review. They specifically told me I'm not allowed to show you even a screenshot or any footage of that area, meaning I can't show you these broken quest lines, bugs, the terrible performance and frame drops and stutters, the fact that NPCs and companions will randomly start moving at 15 frames a second when everybody else is
that is
moving at
way
60
too
frames a
low.
second.
That's a little like unpredictability, a little variety in your game when they're going at different frame rates. But what he's saying is pretty concerning and again pretty insulting to anyone who wants to.
How does it drop to 15 frames per second?
The issue in his review here is the bugginess and the broken gameplay, and he can't even show it because they won't allow him to. Essentially, they're trying to cover up the big critical issues with this game by silencing him, but at the same rate allowing him to talk about it, which makes them look even worse.
I hope he
we're
shows
now
the thing where the
aware
guy tries to
that
get on and say,
there's these bugs and game-breaking aspects in Avowed, but we don't even get to see them. So now our imagination can just run wild, which is even worse because they're also trying to hide it at the same time. So they know it's a real issue, but they don't want you to fully know about it. You understand what I'm saying? That sounds really, really bad. That just makes them look even worse than showing the gameplay, in my opinion. But that's really, really bad, okay? But let's watch one more section here. And I think this is kind of the cherry on top, right?
And with an otherwise solid game, it can destroy and taint and poison the experience to the point where you should just wait. And that's where I'm at. I think Avowed is a pretty good game when it works, but it doesn't work right now, at least for me. And as a result, I cannot recommend it to you. At least not until they've patched it and fixed a lot of this stuff up. There's some bugs and issues.
So,
oh, show the demonstration, please.
Can you imagine a more insulting and kind of something that takes more wind out of your sails than hearing that your game is really good, but it just doesn't work because you rushed it? That's really terrible. Like dropping the ball so hard, man. And
Yeah,
again,
you should watch his entire review. He had some less than favorable things to say about many things in this game. It was not all peaches. It was not. Definitely check out his review, though. It's very telling, and he's very charismatic and handsome, too.
and these people, they paid $90 for this early access, or they got review codes. But imagine paying $90 to be a beta tester. That's what these people are, and this is what people are in most games nowadays with these early access options. You're paying extra to be a beta tester, to go out there and find all the issues for these companies like Obsidian. Again, don't you find that a little bit insulting? And this would have been not as bad if we didn't hear those comments about the jankiness of Avowed from the creative director, because it set up this expectation that this game might have some broken aspects.
Listen, I do expect jankiness with a new game. There's always jankiness with a new, well, almost always. I can't remember the last game that didn't have jankiness, but I want to give some leeway where there's going to be credit that someone can take for not having that much jankiness or any at all. But corrupted saves and entire areas crashing, and from what I remember, he also said that there are bounties you can kill, but if you don't loot them, they can despawn within a few seconds, which is not supposed to happen because you need the item on their corpse. So if you kill them and then go to kill the ads so they stop attacking you so you can loot, they will despawn and you just can never finish it.
Aspects to it, and lo and behold, there are some glaring issues, and people are trying to deny what's going on this way. I've seen people try to basically dismiss this review. Oh, this is just trying to generate outrage. No one else has these problems. There's a lot of other reviews saying this too, but people are actively putting on blinders to ignore that because it doesn't fit their narrative. And as a lot of these reviews are saying, the game has some very promising aspects, but there's other things that are just too much, and that has to do largely with broken stuff in the game. And that's a shame, especially if you really did have a good product, and now people are spending a good portion of their time trying to go around these big mistakes in the game, which, by the way, they weren't aware of a lot of these critical errors. Like, it's not that they were just aware.
How could you not be
they don't
aware?
know these things were in the game and were an issue in the first place.
Did you not
Especially
test
in
it at all?
critical moments. I mean,
That's
pretty
important.
unacceptable stuff.
That is important
But
information to
that's the
have.
This video, how this all plays out, especially on full release, we'll have to still wait and see.
I'm guessing nobody
But that
they
is
tested
the
it
current
with
state of
actually
Avowed,
played through
things
the
you should
whole
know about
game.
it. from my own observations, but that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, not buying the game. Rev, based as always. Give them a like, give them a subscribe. Go ahead and give me a like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you're going to play it. Are you going to buy it? Or are you going to play it on Game Pass? Or are you going to wait for them to fix it and then make your decision? Fair either way. I hope you have fun with it if you do buy it, or if you play it on Game Pass because you already have Game Pass for some other game. Honestly, I love Obsidian games. They make some of the best single-player RPG narratives. But this is embarrassing, man. This is very embarrassing. And honestly, it's a little heartbreaking. After all the amazing games they played that are very dear to my heart, they do this. And I'm worried so much for Outer Worlds 2 now. I don't want to be worried for Outer Worlds 2. I want to be excited for Outer Worlds 2. Like, if I start hearing this exact same things about Outer Worlds 2, I might not even play Outer Worlds 1 before it comes out. Or I'll play it whenever Outer Worlds 2 comes out in Defiance. I don't know. Thanks for joining me, YouTube. This was a depressing one if you were a fan of Obsidian, or you were looking forward to this game in general. Hope you have a good one. Stay hydrated. Stay lovely. Stay beautiful. Stay positive. Stay happy. Take care of yourself and take care of someone else. I love you. Mwah.